Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 104. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Nasty Billy 22, and Kevin is at C2Believe. That's SEA to Believe on Twitter. Tell us what you think on Twitter about the topics we talk about. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe, smash that subscribe button, like our videos, tell us what you think in the comments below. We've been off for a few weeks, so we're going to have a meaty show about the Mariners and Seahawks. But first, before we get to that, the OL Reign are coming towards the home stretch of their season, and the Women's World Cup is currently going on in Australia and New Zealand. And Megan Rapinoe, OL Reign midfielder and forward, she is retiring at the end of the year. The U.S. had a close game against Sweden, the World Cup in the round of 16, lost in penalty kicks. Unfortunately, Megan couldn't convert, but she still has 2 World Cups to her name. Couldn't get the third one, unfortunately, but she has some home games left. If you still want to come out to Lumen Field and see her, the next time she is there is September 3rd against the Orlando Pride at 3 p.m. If you can't attend the games on Paramount Plus, then September 6th, which is a Wednesday, they're also at Lumen Field against Racing Louisville FC. Kind of close to Seattle. They're playing Portland Thorns on Saturday, September 16th in Portland, Oregon. And then she's got 2 final home games after that, October 1st versus the North Carolina Courage. And then the final home game is Friday, October 6th against the Washington Spirit. This doesn't include playoffs as well, so she could be playing a couple extra games after that, but if you want to see her, these are the best chances to do it. If you can't get out to a game, they are usually on Paramount Plus here. So try to support Megan as her career winds down. One of the greatest women's soccer players of all time. Got to be up there with the Mia Hamms, the Abby Wambachs. Sean, what do you think of Megan Rapinoe's legacy?
I would say she's a better player, I don't think she's as influential as those, because Mia Hamm is like, that really just started women's soccer for a lot of people. It's gonna be hard to replace that. It's like Babe Ruth. Like, people knew baseball through that, so it's always gonna be hard to replace Mia Hamm. Just because like that's like the first thing people ever remember when they think of women's soccer. But she's like a better player. so yeah, she's a better player.
Kevin, what do you think of Megan Rapinoe's legacy? And are you gonna at least do you have Paramount Plus? Do you have Paramount Plus?
No.
Brutal. No, I don't know anybody that does. What do you think of Megan's legacy as she winds down her career?
I've had it before.
I have had it before too, but I only usually turn it on during the Seahawks season so I can watch like the 2 or 3 games that are on CBS. So
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not quite. I mean, I know of her and I'm somewhat familiar with her. So what I do know is, I think her legacy is cemented, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert on that. So, from what I do know, she's good. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Well,
Kevin gets right down to the analysis.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good at soccer. That's
good at soccer. That's all.
I can't debate it. It's true. It's
good at footy. Good at footy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the American football, and that is the Seattle Seahawks. They started camp a couple weeks ago. They played their first preseason game this Thursday against the Minnesota Vikings. I think it's at home. I actually don't really know. It's not that it really matters. But let's talk about some of the news that has kind of been going on throughout camp. So let's start with the extension of Uchenna Nwosu. Dear God, I hope I said that right.
You're close. You're pretty close.
I think I'm pretty close. He signed a 3-year extension worth up to $59 million. This was July 24th. So it's been, like I said, it's been a few weeks since we've been on the air. I think this happened probably a couple days after we actually recorded the last one. But Nwosu's 26 and he got a 3-year extension. So I'm going to throw it to Kevin first. Kevin, what do you think of this extension?
I would have liked to see a smaller. Here's the weird thing. He was really solid with his early years with the Chargers, and then last year he was just kind of, in my eyes, he was kind of just mediocre, like at best. Like I didn't see. I like to throw contracts like that to really good players. And we're super struggling at linebacker to where our best linebacker is going to be Bobby Wagner, a really old Bobby Wagner next year, this year, essentially, this season. So do I like throwing that amount of money at a guy who had a good start but kind of struggled last year? Not particularly, no, but I mean, could he get better? Sure. And he is only 26, so I guess that's all right, but am I a fan of it? Probably no. I'd rather use that to get a more qualified linebacker is I guess the best way to put it. Qualified. Better, higher skill set, so to speak. But it is what it is. We've done contracts like this before. I mean, we technically needed somebody to play linebacker, and they're just like, well, you're okay enough. So you want to stay here for 3 years, and we'll just throw you, essentially $60 million. And he's like, frick yeah, let's do it. Let's do this thing. So hopefully his upside will go up, and he'll prove me wrong this year. It's it's happened before where people have started off as coming over to a new scheme for the Seahawks. Maybe there's some growing, and maybe this year it'll click. But we'll see.
Sean, what do you think of the extension?
Yeah, I mean, it's not horrible. I think, is he technically 26? I think he's 27. I don't know how this works. I think this over the cap says he's 27 at the start of the season. I don't know. Either way, 26, 27. Who cares really? I think it's a little overpaid. I think he was pretty good actually last year. The issue is they're overpaying a little bit, but I get why they're overpaying. They're overpaying now to free up money, because if they didn't, they had to extend or do something to somebody, because they literally just couldn't sign all the rookies. So they had to overpay to basically push money back of his deal to free up money now to make it so that they can afford other people. And so it's getting him the extension is nice. So but it lowers the cap number. So it's I mean, a base salary of $1.6 million is not bad. So I mean, don't get me started on the bonus of almost $9 million, but yeah. So he played well enough. He's an edge, not really a linebacker, so he's not going to drop into coverage. He's an edge rusher. He's when people say off-ball linebacker, he's a Bobby Wagner who plays, stereotypical linebacker role. The on-ball linebacker is like the Denver Broncos guy, Miller, Von
Miller.
That is a Micah Parsons linebackers that rush the passer. That is their job. That is why you don't draft off-ball linebackers in the first round, because the most important thing you can do on defense is affect the quarterback in some way, either corners, rushers.
I think Sean is forgetting that our coach is Pete Carroll. When you say he'll never drop into coverage,
well, everyone drops into coverage occasionally, but he's there to rush the passer. That is what he does 98% of the snap.
Pete Carroll loves linebackers in coverage.
Other people do that too. Pete Carroll's not the only one who does that, and so but
Pete likes to do it at the wrong time.
He did it a lot less last year. And
true.
I will say that.
That is true.
Again, Pete Carroll's figuring out how to coach football finally after year 11. It worked out really well. But yes, he just let the pass rushers rush the passer, which is usually pretty good. And yeah, Nwosu did his job fairly well at that. So I'm fine with it. Yes, it's a slight overpay, but it's not one that's crippling you, and it frees you up to do other things, and a deal we'll talk about later on. So it's fine.
Yeah, it says in this story, in his first season with Seattle, after 4 with the Chargers, he set career highs in sacks, quarterback hits, forced fumbles, and tackles for loss. Love to see all that. Hopefully it just continues to get better, or at least improve incrementally over the time he's here. So have no issues with it. And, maybe I'll grab a Nwosu jersey, since it sounds like he'll be here a while.
His advanced metrics are good because sacks are stupid, but yeah, it's fine.
And speaking of jerseys, while we were on our break, the Seahawks finally unveiled the throwback jerseys. Now I'm going to throw them here on the timeline for you. This is Quandre Diggs in the throwback jersey, as well as the pants and the close-up of the helmet. And then you've got Quandre just kind of repping the old school jerseys here. So what do you guys think of these jerseys? I'm just going to go first here. I Would love to pick one of these up. People have been saying it's a little bit lighter than what they originally were, and I think it's. I'm not great with shades of colors necessarily, so I can't necessarily make that opinion. But I think they look great. I think they have nailed the old school 90s aesthetic. I thought the intro video was well done. So I'm a big fan. I'm just trying to decide which one I want to get. I think they're only planning to wear them October 29th against the Browns. I thought I heard there might be maybe one more game at home they will wear them. I hope they wear them at least twice. That would be ideal for me. But I know they generally like to wear their action greens on a primetime game. I think they only have a couple of those, so those might be out of the question. But I hope they wear these at least a couple times because I don't want you to bring these back to just wear them one time. I hope you kind of maybe cycle them through the rotation a little bit because not only do I think they look good, it'll bring back a lot of nostalgia for those older fans. Like I'm sure our uncle will like these jerseys. I'm sure our parents, Sean, will like these jerseys. So really hope they kind of wear them a little bit more because they're just, obviously they look very vintage, I guess I will say, but I still think they look good. They hold up in 2023. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think these are sick. It's definitely something that like no more color rush bullcrap. I mean, can we
They
stop?
kept those. They got rid of the wolf gray to have these in.
See, I'd rather have the wolf grays than the color rush. Like, I think the color rush is just rips. Even though our record,
color rush,
our record with the color rush is really good, but I'd rather just if we're gonna have alternatives at all, like even the wolf grays, I would rather just take these. Like these just look better, like hands down. These should just be like we should get like at least 2 or 3 alternative weeks a year, and these should be it. Like fuck, screw the wolf grays, screw the color rush.
I mean, how many times a year do we wear wolf grays? Like 2 to 3, 3.
Well, we also do the combined thing. Like sometimes
I think that's
pants, and then
I think that's what we're gonna do with these. Is 2 to 3 times a year they're gonna wear these just instead of the wolf grays, basically.
hopefully. So yeah, no, I probably will want to pick one up. I don't know who I'm gonna get. I don't have a Tyler jersey yet, so I might get one to Tyler. Yeah, the helmets are sick. I love the gray with the gloves I love too. Excuse me. But yeah, old vintage Seahawk. Do I think it's a little bit different than the color? Yes, but it still pops. It's still sexy looking. So, and it still reminds me of just vintage Seahawks. So I will absolutely take it. I just wish we could have had this like when Russell was here, but because I know Russell was wanting to do this for quite some time, but that's all right. I don't mind seeing Gino in one of these. So
Also, I know I'm biased, but these are better than the Eagles throwbacks. No offense, Philadelphia.
I was
Don't
gonna
at
bring
me,
that
I
up.
guess. Yeah, but Sean, go ahead.
I'll say this: of all the jerseys, it's a coin toss. You could have either Eagles or Seahawks. Like those are the top 2 tiers. That's it. Everything else, it's whatever. At least they're not the Colts. Like I don't know what they're doing. So of all the remakes, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, but the top 2 I think I've seen unanimous online is the Seahawks and Eagles. I prefer obviously the Seahawks, but like I get it. Like unbiased, I can see why people like the Eagles a lot too. They're good. They're sick. That old school Eagles, the Rob Ryan, all that stuff. Like I get it. So, but like the Seahawks are real done. I think the best part is the shoes. Honestly, look at those shoes.
Yeah,
the green and they look just like the jerseys. Like those are the best part of the whole thing. So, but no, they look cool. I don't know how you can't. I mean, it was unanimous across the internet. Like everyone loved the Seahawks stuff. So yeah, it's fine. I gotta get Sean, one. I don't know who I'm gonna get.
I will say I do like the Tampa Bay old school creamsicles. I actually do like
those are nostalgic because they're funny because they were so bad in the Eagles. I don't think they're actually or the creamsicles.
I don't know if they like don't and maybe they don't necessarily look good, but I think they just kind of work actually.
Everyone remembers them because they didn't win a game for like the first year in the creamsicles. That's what people remember of the creamsicles. So it's more of like, haha, I remember the creamsicles rather than like these are objectively good jerseys. Like good jersey is called a creamsicle.
And are the Tennessee Titans not wearing Houston Oiler throwbacks? Did I not see that?
That's so stupid. Yeah, it's
okay.
it's like OKC coming out in Sonics gear. No matter how cool the old Oiler jersey is, it's not cool because that's not your team. Like that's it. That doesn't matter.
All I'm saying is I'm all for the throwbacks, but I will agree with Sean. Some of them aged a lot better than others. That's for sure. That is for sure.
I mean, I'm glad they did do the creepskulls because it was sick. I mean, I love it, but it's not a great jersey. It's just funny. It's just funny more than
some teams kind of never let them go. Like the Patriots still wear their old throwbacks from time to time. So I don't know why we can't just do that all the time.
I could do without the Pittsburgh Bumblebee outfits though. Those are the stupidest things ever.
Yeah, those
I hate
are
Green
bad.
Bays too. I don't like Green Bays.
Yeah, yeah. Things that are that old just stay dead. Like, yeah. I don't really see it.
I think that's fair. All right, well, let's talk about some not so nice news. Seahawks D. Eskridge suspended 6 games under the personal conduct policy. This was arrested and charged in February following an encounter with the mother of his child. This is according to ESPN's Brady Henderson. Per an agreement, Eskridge entered into the misdemeanor charges against him will be dismissed in 12 months upon completion of domestic violence, moral recognition therapy, the statement said. I'm going to ask you guys if this matters. I think I know the answer, but Sean, what do you think of this news?
No, it doesn't matter. Just cut him. Who cares?
That's kind of what I thought. Kevin?
He's on the outs anyways. We just clearly drafted his replacement. Like, what's he gonna do? I also heard that the Cal guy is killing it in camp. So he's gonna be like the fifth receiver. Who cares? Anyway, sorry.
Oh no, you're good. No, it doesn't matter. I mean, the only thing that just why it matters is that we essentially wasted a 2nd round pick on this fuck. So like it just hurts that we drafted this guy 3 years ago in the 2nd round, and it was just another wasted awful pick by John and Pete.
Analytics said don't do it, so it's fine.
Fine. So I mean, I'm glad they're drafting well now, but like it's hard. You can't. I'm not gonna be like the 80% of Seahawks fans and just ignore it. I'm gonna keep track. Like it's not. I'm gonna make it hang on Pete and John. And be like, hey, you drafted butt for 10 years. Like we're not gonna
like 6 or 7. But yeah, you're right.
Okay, yeah,
like 6 or 7.
It was about 7 years, but 2013 to about 2020. So.
Didn't we have a talk on this podcast like years ago about this draft? And you guys were talking about it. And I go, this was probably a waste. And you were talking about Stone Forsythe and Trey Brown and D. Eskridge. And I said, this is not a smart draft. Well, look what happened. Look what fucking happened. Sorry, I had to swear. God damn it.
I mean, we put this on the YouTube as not for kids, so feel free to swear.
But still, God.
Also, I'm with Sean. Like at this point, he hasn't played. Like, just cut your losses and cut the guy. Like I don't see the point at this point. He hasn't played games. There's guys ahead of him on the depth chart. He's unlikely to see the field at this point. Like I don't see any reason to keep him around. So we'll see how that all plays out. But the final story from camp was earlier in camp, and the Seahawks number 5 overall draft pick, Devin Witherspoon, had a brief holdout before finally signing his rookie deal. According to reports from Brady Henderson and other reporters at Seahawks camp, he is practicing in the starting nickel corner role. His contract is a 4-year, $31.86 million deal, fully guaranteed, $20.17 million signing bonus, 5th-year team option, 5th pick of the draft. So now that he's signed, does this matter to you guys at all? Kevin, what do you think?
No, because I mean, for a while too, what people weren't talking about is that they were trying to clear room because before they even signed all the they had to rearrange because essentially after we drafted, we didn't really have much cap. So it was kind of being talked about on Twitter and Reddit that they were going to have to probably adjust some contracts here and there to try to make room to sign, and it just happened to be that Witherspoon was the last one. Sure, should you let that extend all the way out until training camp? Probably not. But I mean, are Pete and John great at that type of stuff? No. So, does it affect us at all? No. Like you said, he's in training camp now. He's getting reps. So, I just don't really see. Now, if he had missed like entire training camp, yeah, I could see that being probably a little bit of an issue, just because you got to get those reps in with Pete's system, and like that way Pete can kind of, if there's things that Pete sees that he's doing that are not to Pete's liking, he can go and adjust it. Even though I don't know if that's a good thing, because as we were saying, Pete's still learning football, but yeah, to where like they can kind of work things out, so to speak, on what they want him to do in his assigned role and stuff like that. So plus it gives him good reps to go against the more rep. I want him to have more reps against guys like Tyler and DK, because then that just makes him better, so to speak. So that's why you want him in there for the full training camp, just to get good reps against those guys to help prepare him for his rookie season. So
Yeah, I'm with Kevin on this. It would still be a story if he's still not there, but since he has finally signed, he's in camp, he's getting his reps, he's figuring stuff out. Not really a story at this point. Obviously, you don't like guys holding out and missing practice, even though we are talking about practice, but for a rookie, practice is going to be important. So getting him out there, having him sign his contract, now that that's over, really not a story anymore. And hopefully he can see where he fits on the depth chart, because, we got Mike Jackson, Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant, Devin Witherspoon. There's going to be some competition in that cornerback room, and that should be a good thing. Sean, what do you think?
I don't think it matters a lot because you knew he was going to sign. You can't hold out the new rules of the CBA. It's really not an option for these guys anymore. He was going to sign, like Kevin said, they were figuring out some money, and it was more of just like how the structure of the deal lines up. It's interesting also, like people are like complaining online that we drafted a nickel corner fifth overall. I'm just like, I'm not worried about that because like a lot of teams like adopted the Sean McVay 11 personnel. So a lot of teams are just running 11 personnel a lot, and you need three corners to do that. I don't care where you play. You're basically a starting corner if you have three corners. It's the question is if teams can like say that like, hey, Witherspoon is now playing in nickel. But if we just put two tight ends in and don't run through receivers, are you still going to play him, or are you going to shift him outside and take off Mike Jackson? What's going to happen? That's where I'm like, and we won't know that till really games start, what they're going to plan on doing after that. So I don't really care camp where he's playing, because if you can play nickel and outside, that's awesome. Like you could be in the nickel. That's where they put a lot of their guys. Like Devontae Adams lines up in the nickel. Tyreek Hill. That's Cooper Kupp. It's in your division. If you can line up your guy in nickel, your high draft pick guy in nickel to fight Cooper Kupp or Debo or Ayuk, that's hugely valuable because a lot of teams have started to take their big receivers that are outside and then move them in the X. And then like that's been kind of a cheat code that Devontae Adams has been doing for years and Cooper Kupp been doing. And if you can now draft a guy and be like, we're going to put you here, but let's say they go outside, you can move Witherspoon outside. That's a huge advantage. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but like people are like, oh my God, we drafted nickel corner. Nickel corner is not what it used to mean. It is not the same thing.
Well, Sean, let me ask you this question. In Legion of Boom era, Richard Sherman had one side of the field that was his side of the field. He never really strayed from that side of the field. It seems like that's not quite the case with cornerbacks on this team anymore. Do you want these guys to have a side or a position, or have them shift around?
It really depends. I'm going to say this. NFL does not work as it does in 2013. Analytics has taken over. Like the issue is, I heard on a podcast that a guy who played offensive line, teams did not just move their best D lineman to the other side. Like, let's say, like, you had JJ Watt, you'd rush him against the left tackle. They're just like, it took like 2017 where everyone's like, why don't you just put him up against the right tackle? He's not as good. And everyone's like, holy crap. Like, it just blew everyone's mind. Like people were talking about it. It's the Schwartz brothers. One play for the Chiefs, one play for the Giants. They just didn't do it. And that was like 2015. Like, it's a completely different game from when the Seahawks did the Legion of Boom. Like, defense does not work that way. You cannot function in the same rules as 2013. Like, the whole game is revolutionized. So, and it's going really fast. So, I don't think so. As true as like control one side of the field, probably not. In a zone concept, obviously that's your goal. But like for a whole game, you can't really do that anymore. You can't just be like, I'm here and never moving. Because people like the 49ers are going to kill you. They're just going to kill you with those guys who can do with all those things that you can't do that. So you have to mix and match it. That's the point. You have to be unpredictable. So I guess the answer is A and B. You have to do both.
Would you agree with that, Kevin?
Yes. It's the game just changes and evolves, and you got to keep up with it. And it's become, as Sean mentioned, it's kind of become a nerd's game to where like you have to look at statistics. I mean, John Harbaugh has been ahead of the game for quite some time where he's looked at statistics and just not done dumb crap where like, and it's good to see as Sean was mentioned before that Pete's kind of starting to turn that way. He's shockingly, you kind of are teaching an old dog new tricks. But there are still coaches in this league that still do dumb old crap like that. So and then they fall behind. Like, I mean, the good teams that are here right now are here because they are looking at statistics essentially, or they just have like really good players. But like you do, or like they'll think of new creative things, kind of like what you saw. I mean, a lot of people kind of get on Dan Campbell, but Dan Campbell has done some creative things that have worked. Now he's done some things that haven't worked at the same time.
A lot of the credit with them goes to Ben Johnson, though, the offensive guy.
Yeah.
He was like sought after. And he's like, I'm going to stay to Trick Homer here. Like, he'll like lined up to interview him. He's like, no, I'm going to stay.
So, it's definitely something that's hopefully going to catch on a little bit more. But I mean, at the same time, too, hopefully it just catches on more with our team. I don't give a crap about the rest of the
I hope
team.
it doesn't catch it on the other teams.
Yeah. Like as long as Pete, and then I'm totally brain farting our OC.
Shane Waldron.
Yeah. Are keeping up with the times and statistics and stuff and defensively. Well, Pete defensively, because I don't care who we have at DC, they're not doing shit. They're just a cheerleader. It's Pete's defense. To where Pete keeps up on it defensively as well. So Pete and Shane on both sides keeping it up.
Shane comes from Sean McVay, so I would assume so. There's a really good podcast on Athletic. It was a series that talked about the young coaches. It was Sean McVay, LaFleur, Miami's guy. What's his name?
Mike McDaniel.
I always want to say Mike McCarthy, and obviously that's not right, but I like my brain always goes there right away. And Shanahan and LaFleur and I believe Steichen, and it talks about all the young guys and how it is. And to Kevin's point is the NFL has always changed, but what happens with analytics and computers is it changed so much faster now. Like the changes happen so much quicker. Like before, it'd take like a full season and you'd watch film. Now it's like you better start changing in games and in seasons because analytics and so much data is now taking effect that like if you don't quickly like understand what's going on, you're going to be behind. Like, and the NFL running backs had a meeting this offseason. They're like, oh my gosh, guys, what's happening to our value? I'm like, you guys are 4 years behind this turn. Like, you guys have been devalued since Todd Gurley was drafted. Was the last time a running back was drafted high. Like, you're way behind of like, maybe we should have a conversation about how running backs are paid. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this changes so much. It speeds up now because of the computers and all the processing. Like Sean McVay talks about when he started, or Kyle Shanahan, we have to manually load all plays in. Now it's like you go 30 seconds, you get everything, and you can see the data points on everything. Like it's just so much quicker now. It's fun, but it's also terrifying.
Yeah, I would like them to cycle through the cornerbacks and hopefully keep them as fresh as possible. If we have 4 good cornerbacks, I would like to use 4 good cornerbacks, and obviously they can put them all in there in a dime formation if you want to, but at the same time, if you're playing nickel, you could cycle guys in and out. And that would be nice to kind of keep guys fresh. So that way, if you are facing a very fast, like a Tyreek Hill or something like that, you don't have a tired guy out there on 3rd down and 10 or something like that. So I would like to kind of cycle through some guys.
Are you playing your 4th guy on Tyreek Hill though? When it comes down to it,
I'm not necessarily saying play your 4th guy on Tyreek Hill, but also don't let your guys be out there for 10, 15 play drives and not give them a chance. Like if you have defensive linemen to cycle out there, they do cycle through those guys.
Yeah,
now obviously you've got your starters.
Those are the only guys that cycle though.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean you can't do it with cornerbacks. Why can't you do that with cornerbacks?
The problem is the drop off is so extreme on those corners.
I mean, it can be depending on your depth at the cornerback room.
Also, they rotate, Matt, because the body type of Tyreek Woolen is different than Al Woods.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But those guys do get in shape. They're not like huge and out of shape.
I'm not saying they're out of shape. It's just you have to rotate them. And they're also doing different things. They're pressing against like other big dudes, which versus they're just corners are just running.
Old linemen don't rotate, Matthew. So that's what I'm saying. Like nobody else rotates other than basically the D line. Like there are like packages where players rotate, but like when Revis was in his prime, Revis isn't coming out. Revis is just staying out there. Those starting corners just don't move. Like Woolen and Witherspoon are just going to stay out there unless they're hurt. Like that's just their job. You can rotate maybe the third guy. Like I'm okay with like Trey Flowers. I saw a footage of Trey Flowers today. I posted us on Twitter where he's covering Tyreek Hill, and everyone's like, "Man, he burned Trey Flowers." I go, Trey Flowers is a giant corner. His job and why he was good with Cincinnati was his solely was brought in to guard Travis Kelce. He's a big body to guard a big tight end or wide receiver. He's not going to chase. He's not supposed to be chasing Tyreek Hill down the field. So in those packages where you have like a big tight end, that's what made me frustrated about Pete Carroll. I'm like, Trey Flowers is gigantic. Don't run him in the slot against a guy who's tiny. Run him against Travis Kelce. And the Seahawks always have problems with tight ends. So just stick Trey Flowers, who's gigantic, against every tight end who gives you problems. That's his job. That's what he's good at. And so, like, understanding the packages, Matthew, I agree with you there. Understand the personnel you're against, but your two corners are going to be out there. Your two dudes. That's what comes down.
Yeah, I get that. And there are all times where they also will ask to be checked in and out too. So there is that factor as well.
Tired.
So
but like that's what I'm asking. Where does Witherspoon? Is he like the nickel, but he's really the starter? So like when they only have two receivers out there, does he shift to the outside then, or does he come off the field? If he comes off the field, then maybe we're talking about not using the fifth overall pick the most effectively. He needs to be on there if he's the fifth pick. Like he needs to be just shifting outside. And then if he does that, that actually makes his value way more valuable than if he could do both.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm very up if you can, and based on matchup, like if you've got the depth, use your depth.
Yeah, I get it. But don't take Witherspoon or Woolen off the field ever. And honestly, leave Mike Jackson out there. Those three just need to be playing football, like baseball all the time. I don't even care who's. Will Witherspoon guard the tight end? I don't care. But Mike Jackson is really good. He needs to play.
All right. Well, the Seahawks take on the Vikings this Thursday. Then they take on the Cowboys, I believe, on the Saturday. Then they're at the Packers, I think, the next week after that. So check out the Seahawks. We might talk about it a little bit, but, preseason doesn't really mean that much unless the starters play like a series or two. So
I actually like it when the starters are not. I like seeing what backups can do against backups. That's how Geno Smith won the job. Like if you're clearly better, that's how Russell won the job. If you're clearly better, then you move up, then you move up, then you move up. And if you're playing starters and you're better, just give them a shot to play. That's what I look for. I look for these guys at the bottom of the roster. If they're standing out, then look for them the next week. And if they stand out again, then maybe you got something there. But don't freak out over one play or something like that.
Like Kenny Pickett, not Kenny Pickett, Kenny, the freaking 7th round back we got.
Kenny McIntosh.
Oh, he's hurt too right now. Anyway, so
is he? Dang it!
Yeah.
Now they all got hurt.
I mean,
They're all getting nicked up. They're all just getting nicked up. It's not.
That is kind of why you don't. That's kind of the whole point of running backs. They get hurt a lot because that's what running backs do. But that's why you don't draft them high. And then he got hurt in a hammy the other day, but I don't know if it's like lingering and is going to keep him out of this game. I haven't heard an update yet, but he'll play. He'll play at some.
I wouldn't press it on this game. Let the man.
Well, he is a 7th round pick. He does. He has to earn a job. Like Zach and like Kenny Walker, they got it, but a 7th round pick's got to kind of earn that job.
Well,
so he's got to play.
Pete Carroll, he'll keep them.
He'll keep 9 running backs.
He keeps 5 running backs.
Keep all of them.
It's done. But
sign some more. Actually, we don't have enough. All right, let's talk a little bit about the games that are currently going on, and that is the Seattle Mariners. First of all, if you want to talk to us about the Seahawks, how their preseason's gone, Witherspoon signing, D. Eskridge's trouble, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at _Matt. Sean is at NastyBilly22. Kevin is at C2Believe. That's SEA2Believe on Twitter. Like our videos on YouTube. Subscribe. Tell us what you think in the comments below. The Mariners doing pretty good so far. They have won 6 in a row. I'm not going to go through all the games that we missed while we were gone, but they are sitting at 61-52. They just beat the San Diego Padres in the first of 2 games at home, 2-0 tonight. Logan Gilbert got the win. Andres Munoz on my fantasy team got the save. Thank you very much, Andres. So, Sean, what have you thought about the Seattle Mariners while we were off and recently?
They're playing really good baseball. They're playing not even still quite to what the back of their baseball card says they should be playing. Like, for example, their win-loss says they should actually be better than they are right now. But they are, so they're still getting technically a little unlucky. But this is closer to what their record actually indicates. It's why the arbitrary win-loss, the record and like this, it's like the Mariners were a better team at the trade deadline than they were. Everyone's talking about how they're 500. If you could clearly see they were a better than 500 team. That doesn't mean they were going to go on a run. That doesn't mean any of that. But they clearly had the talent to be better than they were. And then they're just finally living up to the talent. Everyone's freaking out. Like this is who the Mariners were. Not winning 6 games in a row and all that stuff. They're winning them all at the end of the year. They're finally getting to where they should be. So it's nice to see the Mariners finally play like their potential.
Yeah, Sean and I had a Twitter beef like a week ago, and now it kind of seems like that conversation isn't even relevant at this point. Now, obviously, if they take a huge tumble, you never know. But
talked in finalities in that Twitter beef, and I was like, man, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's kind of a moot conversation because rattle off 6 in a row, you shut me up. So, attaboy Mariners. But yeah, this team is playing very well. It's also, I think they are taking a little pressure off themselves. It seems like in these last few games, like I've been able to watch the Angels series for the most part, and it seems like they're actually not putting the pressure of all these fan expectations on them, and they're just kind of playing baseball. I think when Sean and I were kind of getting our debate, it kind of gets lost in the point that this is ultimately a game, and that you should hopefully be having fun, even though this is your job for the Mariners players and staff and all that sort of stuff. So, obviously this affects real lives and, people make money and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, it is a game. So hopefully the Mariners will kind of keep up that spirit. And that's kind of what helped them a lot last year, I felt like, was the fact that they were just playing and they knew that they were going to have those results in the end. So, will that lead to playoffs down the road? Hard to say. There's like 50 games left. They could climb, they could reach it, but there are a lot of teams in front of them. Obviously, those teams are going to play each other. Well, I mean, but if you can move up the ladder, you can go to the first wild card spot. So, yeah,
realistically, they could climb. They could beat Houston probably.
Yeah. So, yeah. There's a lot of things that are still have to play out, but right now where they're sitting, pretty happy with where they're at. I really can't complain a whole lot. And yeah, I like to. I will say, I'm a photographer for a living, so I like to see some cool photos. I saw the clip of Julio Rodriguez. I didn't get to watch the game tonight of his fake out, so I really like this photo from Lindsey Wason of the AP of him robbing the home run. That is a sweet shot, Lindsey. Well done. And it also reminds me of my own photo that I can't bring up while I'm sharing. I did shoot a Mariners game in 2019 when they were absolutely awful, but it was still fun to do. And it just reminded me of the shot that I got. Now, it's not a home run robbing shot, but this is Malik Smith, who you don't remember probably. But
I remember Malik Smith.
Okay.
I remember where he came
I think
from.
they both. You guys remember. Some fans might not remember, but I got this shot, and it just reminded me of the Julio shot. It's not nearly as cool because Lindsey got a home run robbery shot. But also, I think my affinity for JP also stems from the fact that he is like the only remaining player that I was shooting during that game. So I don't think really anybody else on the team. This is Kyle Seager. This is a coach now for the Tacoma Rainiers. So, or is he on the Mariners staff now? He's on the Mariners staff, isn't he? Negron?
Who?
Negron?
Don't quote me. I don't know.
Staff.
It's hard to. I think he's on the Mariners staff, but it's hard. Like Dan Wilson, all those guys that always move up and down and do all that stuff. I can't remember. And
Tommy Malone started that game and gave up an opening batter home run, and he is still on the team from time to time. So, yeah, that's a cool shot, and that was a great psych out by Julio there in that game. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, Mariners. Sorry, there was like a whole bunch of like trains. No, they've been doing well. It's kind of weird. If I feel like they did this last time too when they traded away Graveman, like they just started doing well after, because a lot of people were kind of like, "Oh, you're trading Seawald? Like what the crap?" And then we were telling people like, calm down, as we know, bullpen kind of goes in and out. And even though Seawald's really good, I like Seawald, but Seawald also can get sloppy from time to time too. So I wasn't too shocked when they traded them away. But it's nice to see that they're actually playing really good baseball. Logan Gilbert murdered the Padres tonight. With no runs, no walks, 12 Ks, like just I mean it is sad to see that Wu got hurt. I kind of want to see some more good stuff from him. It's sad that he's going on the 10-day IL. But other than that,
it's precautionary. Did you see that, Kevin?
is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
they just said it's basically they're resting his arm. He's thrown 30 more innings than he ever has already, and they're like, look, let's just settle down here. Basically, is what
the only sad part of this whole stretch was that Castillo kind of got blown up on his last one. I think it was his last start where he gave up like 7.
Yeah, in Anaheim.
Yeah. I mean, we won that game, but it was still he had a very rough start. I mean, though, like I said, the whole time it's really good, especially when you can sweep somebody in your own division that you're competing with. That's good things. Like this is what we've been saying. Like you need to get us like just win series. That's all you have to do. Like win series, get a sweep every now and then. And essentially they're kind of starting to do that more now. JP has been a lot more solid. That catch he had in the 9th inning was like legit. And then the little cough up to Caballeros for that double play. I think it was like 2 nights ago. That was he's playing really good defense right now again. So not to say that we know he has potential to be a really good, solid defensive shortstop. It's just always been about his bat. But he's been turning it up. I mean, he's got a career high in home runs now. I think he's at 10, right?
Yeah.
10 or 11.
10.
Which I mean, is that like superstar elite? No, but I mean, it's better than what we expected. So that's good. And hopefully he can continue. The fact that we've signed him, hopefully he can continue to grow off that. A lot of people were attributing it to him having health issues. Maybe that could be the case. I think it's also because I don't think he has superstar shortstop potential. Like, I mean, Corey Seager's Corey Seager. Listen, get in there, but just be a good, solid shortstop, like, which essentially is what he's doing at the moment. Well, I mean, I like a little bit more, but I know he had a rough early on. Suarez was getting hot there for a little bit. His bat was starting to heat up, which was nice because he was kind of funk for a little bit. So it's good to see that kind of coming around a little bit more. Other than that, I'd like to just see a little bit more consistency out of Cal, Ty. People are gonna be like Cal, and I'm just like, yeah, Cal a little bit, though, just less strikeout ratio for Cal, and I think we'd be okay there. But I mean, that's kind of what catchers do essentially. And yes, sadly, as Sean mentioned, Mike Ford has kind of dropped off the face of the earth, unfortunately. So
he's dead.
It would be nice to find
baseball wise.
Yeah, it'd be nice to find a good replacement DH there.
I hear Shohei Ohtani is good.
Well, Kevin, you had the spoiler alert. The Arizona Diamondbacks now have Paul Sewald, and the Mariners got in return rookie outfielder Dominic Canzone, utility man Josh Rojas, and Ryan Bliss, a Double-A middle infielder. And
I believe he's in Triple-A now.
Oh,
but yeah, you were correct. When the deal was made, I believe he was in.
Well, this is from Jeff Passan from July 31st.
Yeah, yes, he's in Triple-A.
And then also from Jeff Passan, the Mariners traded AJ Pollock, and it sounds like to great cheer. And utility man Mark Mathias for a player to be named later, and I believe cash considerations as well. So, Kevin already mentioned this, so I'll throw it back to him. Are these deals significant to you, or is it just like, we talked about, are they selling, buying, or standing firm? It sounds like standing firm is what it looks like this was. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah. I think they trust what they have in their bullpen, especially since guys have kind of stepped up, like Topas. Who's the guy with starts with an S that just
Saucedo?
Yeah,
Saucedo's been has stepped up a little bit more to where they don't need. I mean, Munoz has Munoz is the sexy beast, but Munoz can't always. I mean, you could
Brash is a monster,
and Brash
yeah. What Brash did to Ohtani in the Angel series, Ohtani's going to have nightmares.
Yeah, I think, and this is kind of what I've liked about. Oh my God, I am brain farting. Sorry, it's been a long day at work. Our skipper, is that
Scott.
Scott uses guys in certain roles. Like as we mentioned before, like having a closer specifically for the ninth isn't always the best thing. Like if you're up by a run and you're going against their best players in the eighth, you probably want to put your best guy out there in the eighth to go against those guys. You don't want to put your setup guy against them, so to speak. You want your best dude who's fresh, to go out and versus like in the ninth, like if you're going against the bottom three of the lineup, like, so he's done more situational setups to where I like it. That's what I'm saying. So he now knows what he's got. He's got guys he knows that can put in those pressure situations when guys like Brash and Munoz need a night off, and can trust to do that. And it just helps too when Logan Gilbert just poops on a team and goes for he went 7 innings tonight, because Brash did the 8th and Munoz did the 9th, and just lock it down to where other bullpen can, like tomorrow, I imagine at least one, either Brash or Munoz is probably going to get the night off, and then they'll probably bring in Topas or any of the other, guys to come in and close it up there. I think they wanted infield depth just because you still don't know what you have in second base. Wong's just Caballeros is barely serviceable. Dylan Moore's shown some power a little bit, but we know what Dylan Moore's ceiling is, sadly. So you bring in a veteran like Josh Rojas. Josh Rojas is a very good veteran, kind of like Dylan Moore, but just more veteran-ish, I guess you could say. He's a guy that can get you some stolen bases, play solid infielding. Like the other two guys I'm not too familiar with, so I'm not going to really pretend like I'm going to go into. I would probably need to take more time to look at their tape, but I'm familiar with Josh Rojas because he's just been in the league for so much time to where he's always just been a solid infielder for the Diamondbacks to where I'm okay with it. And then Pollock and the other guy, honestly, if we got like 5 McChickens and a small fry from McDonald's, we did good. So
there's inflation, Kevin, so there's no like dollar menu or anything. So I don't know
well,
if you'll be able to get all that.
I wouldn't be surprised because McChickens are like $3.29 now. It's crazy.
That is true. Yeah, they've really gone up.
If we got 5 for him, like that's a deal.
Here's a hack. Just do the deluxe sandwich, which is like a couple dollars. It's like $3, and it's way better and it's bigger than a chicken. So
that's true.
Sean, what do you think of these deals?
I mean, obviously, I didn't want to have to trade Paul Sewald, but the thing is, like Kevin talked about it, the Mariners just make arms. They have arms for days. They constantly have arms, and especially bullpen arms. Everybody did you know who Saucedo was? Did you know who Topa was? Did you know who any of these guys are? And the Mariners have, oh gosh, of course I don't have it up yet, but they have an absolute monster bullpen right now, and that's what this team does. This team cultivates like talent, especially in the bullpen. And what you should do with that is trade that away. When you have that, trade it away, because it not only helps you, but it helps other teams. So I'm totally okay with, as much as it sucks and as much as I don't like it, it still is like, okay, you're trading from a strength, and that is totally fine with me. Oh gosh, I have it right here. I want
now, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the last year of Sewald's deal. Is that correct?
No, he has one more after this. So the Mariners currently, as it stands, have the 3rd best bullpen in baseball, and people don't know who half these people are. Like Gabe Spire, Topa. I mean, who knows? Isaiah Campbell, Ryan Ryder, Devin Sweet, Trent Thornton. Trent Thornton was just cut, and he came in and was just killing it the other day. Like the Mariners just they understand pitching talent. This will come to another prospects thing later when we talk about this later, but when it comes to bats, that's a different story. But like Mariners get bullpen. And so trading away, as Kevin said, closers are overrated. What you want is your best pitcher to pitch in the highest leverage situation. It doesn't matter if it's the 7th, even the 5th. Like the bases are loaded 5th and you're up by 1 run. You need to get out of that inning. You need maybe the 5th's a little early, but like 6th or something like that. You know the point. You need to get out of that inning and not give up runs. And honestly, for the most part, it's been Munoz. Munoz has been the guy for the Mariners, not even Sewald. Sewald like does the 9th inning, but it's at the end of the inning and there's nobody on and 3 outs. It's not even that hard, actually. Like it's not as hard as like You're coming in second and third, 1 out, and you're up by 1. You need to get out of that inning. And Munoz is the guy who they call on for that, not Paul Sewald. So they're trading not their best relief pitcher for somebody who, okay, Rojas, I'm not a big fan of. He's kind of he's a Dylan Moore, and that's fine. Like, you need a couple. My issue is, like, we have 2 now, so, like, whatever. Like, what are we doing here? But, like, it's fine. Like Kevin said, Dylan Moore hit a triple again today. So, like, if Dylan Moore keeps hitting, then you don't need to play Rojas. And honestly, personally, I probably don't want to see Rojas. At least Dylan Moore can play some defense. So I want to see Dylan Moore.
Sean, I'm picturing the Spider-Man meme of Rojas and Moore pointing at each other. Keep going.
I'm not a huge Moore fan, but I like more than Rojas just because I don't like Rojas much, but that's fine. It's whatever. This deal was made for the 2 kids, Canzone, who I like his, like, makeup. He has hit everywhere he has ever been. He has had I think a 108 WRC plus everywhere he's been. That's the lowest he's ever been. He's obviously struggled a little bit in the majors, but again, he's 26 for his first time playing in the majors. So give him a little bit. Let's let him figure it out. He has 57 at bats. You know, I'm willing to let his career 135 WRC plus in AAA. I'll let that play over 700 bats. That's a pretty good sample size. So he can hit. But can he hit the majors? That I don't know, but he's hit everywhere he's gone, kind of like a Jared Kelenic. And then let's see if he can just figure it out. If he doesn't, then you gave up a year and a half of Paul Sewald, or a year and 2 months of Paul Sewald for this guy.
Can you not bring up Jared Kelenic? It really hurts for me and my fantasy team.
Well, it really hurts Jared's foot. So
tell him to stop kicking water coolers. Then
I did.
It's a gamble. It's a gamble on potential talent for lots of years of control, which I totally get. Bliss is the same thing, except less. He's literally, I think, 5'6". Maybe they say 5'8". I think he's 5'6". That profile does not usually translate to good at MLB players. There is kind of a height limit requirement in the MLB, believe it or not. It's just really hard to have any sort of power because this game is based on power now. And in order to do that, he does. If you do make contact, you have to be really fast. He is that. It just hasn't translated super well. But again, we're betting on crazy upside. If he turns out, he turns out. If he turns it out Altuve, he turns it out Altuve. If he doesn't, again, you gave up a year and a half of Paul Sewald from a strength. It's not. This trade is not going to sink you. It's not going to swim yet. Yes, you want to have Paul Sewald, but I like gambling on the other side. If I were to go back in time, I would. I'm kind of wondering why we didn't get a little bit more for Paul Sewald, but I guess the market dictated that, like, he's not David Robertson, and that's kind of what it was. He's not an elite closer. He's not a Chapman. He's not a Robinson. And Mariners fans need to kind of understand that. We like Paul Sewald, but the rest of baseball was like, you're not that guy. And that's fine. We got something for it. And I still like Paul, but
I don't think we've been on the pod since the Jared Kelenic incident. And since he's on my fantasy team, I'll talk to him directly. Jared, let me get close to the camera here. I get it, buddy. I get it. You can get frustrated in sports. It happens to all of us, whether it's Kevin bowling, Sean running, me playing golf. I get it. But you can't do that. All right? Hopefully you learn this lesson now because you're a young guy. You got plenty of years in the league, hopefully. But you can't do that. All right? You can't get mad and break something, especially yourself, because that's just not going to lead to anything good. So you'll come back. You'll hopefully have the September Kelenic surge, and everything will be fine. But right now, you felt bad in that press conference. I get it. You feel like you let your team down, and maybe to some extent you have, but they'll forgive you. You'll come back, be stronger, and you'll lead my team to a fantasy championship. That's what I want. That's what everybody wants. All right? So, Jared, heal up. Come on back, buddy. There's a spot waiting for you. Although I will give credit to Sean. He said Cade Marlowe should get more at-bats, and the next day he hit a grand slam. So, good call there, Sean. Well done.
I've always been a Cade Marlowe fan. You should just play more.
But let's talk a little bit about the news of the day, which is the Mariners calling up Emerson Hancock, and that can also lead into a prospect watch here. So, Sean, what do you think of the Hancock call-up? And give me some prospects that you're taking a look at so far.
So this will go to this. Matthew sent a thing where it says, "Hey, everyone hates Mariners prospects." I had to break down what this means. So this one website said Mariners don't have great prospects. They think they're like the 8th worst. Is that what it was? Don't quote me on that one. 8th worst.
I think it was
That
7th.
sounds about right. 7th worst. what that means is, and what I tried to share and convey to Matthew was, the Mariners called up like all of their guys, and they're all here, and they're all like the entire Mariners team is basically Mariners prospects. Cal, Ty France, Julio, Jared
Are they
Kelenic.
prospects at that point if you're in the league?
Well, they were all
How
called
are
up.
you a
They
prospect if you're playing in the league?
no, like that's
You're
what
not a
I'm saying.
prospect
Like,
anymore.
they just called them all up within the last 2 years, Matthew. Like they're all coming up. The entire rotation is Mariners prospects. They all just came up. So when you have a really high prospect, like the Mariners had the #1 farm system in baseball. When you take guys from that, you're going to drop. I know that might be hard for some people, but that you're going to get worse when you call up Julio Rodriguez and Jared Kelenic. When you call up the number 2 and 3 prospects in baseball, your ranking's probably going to fall. And so when you call up those two guys, you call up Cal Raleigh within a year, you call up 4 starters within a year, and now 5 starters within a year, you're going to drop. Like, and that's just what's going to happen. That is literally, you trade away 2 of them or trade away 3 of them for Luis Castillo, who I also hear is pretty good at baseball. You're going to drop. When you get rid of 9 guys in your minors, 9 high-profile guys, you're going to drop. What I'm trying to explain is, like, the Mariners, and I like Eric Langerhans. He writes for Fangraphs. That Fangraphs is the one who did that. Like, I know that some other company like kind of stole their thing, and like Fangraphs. It's from Fangraphs. I like Fangraphs. I do use Fangraphs. Eric Langerhans, and is kind of the way that I view this is, how would I say this? Like, me and JT have another podcast. He likes certain players and I don't, and I've told him I have blind spots to certain players, and I get that. It is what I look for in a player versus what JT looks for in a player. Eric doesn't like what the Mariners profile suggests. This was talked about on actually another podcast, a national podcast, was Fangraphs usually doesn't like Mariners prospects specifically. Like Emerson Hancock was a top pick and has been killing it this year, and was multiple time player of the month in the minors. He is not top 100 ranked anymore, while Jack Leiter, who's been getting killed, is still a top 100 player. Clearly, there's like some disconnect. Everyone just wrote off Emerson Hancock. So because of that, obviously Emerson Hancock's not top 100. If he was ranked fairly, as I would say, the Mariners would be higher on their list. The Mariners currently have only 2 guys in the top 100. That's to say that all the guys they just drafted are not ranked yet, and everything like that. So the Mariners, I would say probably more fair and accurate representation of the Mariners minor league system is 15 to 18. That is probably where they rank right now, and it will probably continue to climb because that does not include Montas. That does not include. I'll talk about the prospects right now. Oh shoot! I just clicked on Cade Marlowe. Let me scroll down. The guys that I like: Montas, who Kevin, you've seen. Have I shared him in the chat? The giant Lorenzo Montas. He is 18 years old. He is 6'3", 220 or 210. 210 is generous. He is a giant. And he just turned 18. He has been very fun to watch in the minors. He's going to climb up these rankings. I lost where he is, but there he is. I found him. Michael Arroyo's climbing up. Like, they have a lot of guys. The one I'm looking for the most underrated is Tyler Locklear, who is in high A, who is coming back. He's a 166 WRC plus, which for those who don't know is very good. He is going to get called up. He's not even ranked in the top 100. He is going to get called up. The other guy that everyone seems to be talking about here, oh gosh, Class A, is it Alberto? Yeah, no, it's not Alberto. He was killing it last year. He's not killing it this year. But anyways, I'll just talk about Emerson Hancock. Emerson Hancock is underrated. Emerson Hancock will be totally fine. He might not be fine. I'm just waiting for the day where one of these guys that they call up isn't good at baseball. It might be Hancock, but I believe in Hancock stuff. Like, Hancock stuff plays. He was the talk of the Futures game 2 years ago when in his inning. He just mowed down the inning that he pitched in. I think his stuff plays. It'll be great. I actually really like the move because I think between Miller, Wu, and Hancock, they're gonna stagger the 3 of them and try to give them rest because they're all so young and don't have a lot of innings that their inning caps is pretty low. So they have to stagger these guys to make the end of the season because I don't think Marco's coming back this year. So they have to find somebody to get some innings so they at least make the playoffs. So I think that's what they're doing. And
I also asked, where did Marco go? What happened?
He's hurt still.
Oh, so okay.
He might never pitch for the Mariners again, which I mean, where does he play? If Hancock starts, you have 6 starters currently, and that doesn't include number 7 Cy Young winner Robbie Ray next year. He's your 8th starter. How do you justify keeping a Marco Gonzalez?
You rotate 8 starters.
You can't rotate 8 starters. And then let's say when you inevitably sign Ohtani, you have 9 starters. You have
9-man rotation. Perfect.
Like, you have to trade somebody. You can't have 9 starters. I know people want depth from starters. They're like, holy crap, you can't have 9 guys.
You can only have so many people on the team.
Yeah, I'm like, you're running out of roster spots, like simply put at this point. So I'm like, I just think like a trade is coming. It might not be Marco, but not all these guys are gonna be on the team next year. They can't viably be on the team. So I just think Marco might be done. And so I like what they're doing. They're giving these young kids some rest days. Woo is first, so that's fine with me.
All right, before I get to Kevin's prospect watch, I have to share this photo that came across my timeline, also from Lindsey Wason. This looks like a fucking Looney Tunes types like photo right here. Just Grisham into the wall on Dylan Moore's RBI triple. That's beautiful. That is an awesome photo. Love that photo right there. All right, Kevin, prospect watch. What you got?
I mean, we kind of go through what I had listed here. Yeah, other than kind of what we've already gone over. Arroyo's been nutty.
I mean, I don't want to talk like about the big guys, like Harry Ford. Obviously, you could talk about Harry Ford, but
they got a reliever called Peyton Alford right now. He's in Everett, who's been kind of essentially their closer, who's been doing pretty decent.
Their first overall pick this year has a 280 WRC plus. I don't know if that's going to continue, but
Harry Ford's been really freaking good. Cole Young's also been really good lately. Multi-hit games for each.
Yeah, Cole Young's been killing it. Those are the only 2 guys they have on the top 100, and I think it's ridiculous that they only have 2 guys on the top 100.
Well, also, I mean, you also got to keep in perspective, like you just haven't registered him, like, and then like there's what's his name, Celeste Fernine.
Him. All of their first round picks are all on the rookie ball. I really want to see that team. That is Starling Aguilar, Colt, Ty Pete, Felliston, Johnny Famelo. All of those guys are on the same team. I'm like, holy crap!
The Dominican Republic shortstop kid who's like 6'4" and he's just a big boy.
Yeah,
he hasn't really. He just literally is getting started.
Well, he was hurt. He pulled it. He had a hammy, and now he's about to start playing. He's 17. Yeah. He's 17.
Where
he's playing in the States. So yeah,
so that's the reason why he's also not on it.
Like,
he just hasn't had time to play.
Yeah, the Mariners list is going to climb because you pull, you drop, and then you develop talent. Like the Mariners develop talent. They have had an issue, Matthew, and I'll say this: developing bats. That is an issue. But I think their more recent track record is showing that maybe they can. Because undoubtedly they make pitchers. I mean, we're all talking about all the pitchers. Like
the only guy you really want to keep track on that's going to really matter is the guy that we just got from Arizona that Sean Smith mentioned just went to AAA because he plays infield.
Yes, he's the only one that's going to be cool. I see, but that's what I like about what they're doing is they don't have a lot of infield talent, and what the Mariners have been doing is drafting crazy amount of infielders. They're like, we're going to solve this middle infield problem by just overwhelming everybody. Yeah.
Suarez is doing okay at third. So I would like to see Ty be a little bit more solid than what he is. But I mean, you have Ty at first. And then freaking, oh my God, Crawford at shortstop. So right now you're for a playoff push, you're looking at what's at second base, which is just a mixture of like Dylan Moore, Caballeros. Is Colton Wong still even freaking up right now, or did he get
no? They cut Colton Wong. Like he is not a
yeah, that's right.
He was designated for assignment.
And then he was cut because he cleared.
Oh, then he was cut.
He was a free agent. Didn't he sign with somebody?
So just for like September call-ups and stuff like that, if he's hot in Tacoma, you could possibly see him get some time playing at second, just because that's really the position of need at the moment. I mean, Kelnick will come back, and right now it's fine because we're winning. And
is Kelnick going to come back? He might be done for the year.
He'll be back.
It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, it's a possibility. But
yeah,
you have Cade Marlowe. This is the time to see what Cade Marlowe can do in the majors. I mean, does it help that you're trying to make a playoff push? And I don't know. Like I said, you're trying to get as many wins, but you are essentially winning at the moment. So hopefully that continues. But I would like to see Kelnick be there versus, I don't know, because I mean, if Kate Marlowe continues to develop and starts doing more of those Grand Slam type things, that's good too. But so essentially, the only thing really you need right now is a second baseman, essentially, because you got Teo and you got Julio, if they stay healthy. I mean, and like I said, would I like Ty to step up his bat a little bit more? Yeah, sure. And then also Suarez too, and then Cal cut out his strikeouts, but essentially the only thing that's really hurting you at the moment is second base and DH. But
Jose Caballeros was serviceable. Like nothing great, but he held it down just fine. As a number 9 hitter, was annoying and got some walks. That is all I need. Because you just need the other 8 guys to be a bat. And if Jose Caballeros is like, okay, you're not great. Obviously, yes, Kevin, you're correct. You want to upgrade it if you can. You could probably easily upgrade it. But I just like him more than I don't like Joe Rojas. I'm so sorry. I don't like Rojas.
The good part about him is he gives you speed to play to pinch run, like have a pinch runner to where you could, if like say like for some weird reason like big boy Mike Ford gets on base and you need like you could pinch run Caballeros in there.
I was all for letting Caballeros just keep playing. Like I don't think that Rios is really an upgrade. This is the one I do blame Jerry. I don't think Rios should be playing a lot. I don't want to. I think I tweeted that out too, Matthew. I don't want to see Rios anymore. I've never really liked that profile. I want to see Jose and Dylan Moore play. That's who
I think. Rojas.
Yeah, I do not want to see Rojas play.
Rojas. Okay, you said Rios.
Yeah, you said Rios. I was like, what? Who's Rios?
I think I'm combining their name, Jose and Rojas, to Rios. I'm not a big fan of Josh Rojas's profile, and I want to see Caballeros and Dylan Moore. And I get that Josh Rojas is a lefty. Well, I don't care. I want to see Jose and Dylan play. I don't want to see.
To wrap up Matt's question, the only one that really matters for the rest. I mean, yes, Emerson now, of course, like you want to see what he's going to do. And then to where like they can kind of play with that with September call-ups to keep those young arms fresh and hot. But as far as position-wise, other than that, the only one to look out for would be the kid that they just got from Arizona. And now that he's gone, if he's good up until September call-ups at AAA, it's possible you may see him get a shot or two to see how he does at second.
He has 60 AAA at bats. He ain't ready yet.
I know.
And he has really struggled at AAA.
I'm
really good at AA. So
I don't really think it's going to happen, but I'm like saying if there's anybody else, it would be that essentially. But I don't think it really is going to be.
I mean, just screw it. Call up Cole Young. Just do it. Call up the 20-year-old. Who cares at this point? Just listen to the what the other teams are doing and calling up their young kids like the Mets just did today. Like, F it, go for it. Just call up the young kids. Who cares? No, please don't call up.
All right, I've got one last question. We're a little over an hour here, but the Everett Aqua Sox will be in Tri-Cities August 22nd through the 27th. Got their schedule up right here. Last year we went to a game, and who did we see again pitching? I forget now. I forget. But anyway, last year we all went to the Everett Aqua Sox game, saw some of the Mariners prospects. Are you guys planning to try and get to at least one of these Everett Aqua Sox Tri-City Dust Devils games? Sean, August 22nd through the 27th, you can get Owen out to his first baseball game, get that baseball juice energy going for his entire life. How about that?
Yeah, we'll probably make a couple games. Yep.
Kevin, you gonna be able to make it out to a couple Everett Aqua Sox Tri-City Dust Devils games?
If I'm not worked like a hound dog, then yes, I will probably try to get out to at least one to see some young prospects. So
depending on kind of who they got started. Yeah,
it's true. And I want to shout out one more photo. I don't know if anybody listens to the Dollop, great podcast. They do a great podcast about a baseball world tour, kind of cemented and started the history of baseball throughout the world. It was mainly American sport, America's pastime, of course, as everybody knows, but they went on a world tour, played in front of the pyramids and a bunch of stuff. And I saw this photo and I agree with this poster right here, Crawl F34. I absolutely love this photo of people playing baseball in Bhutan. They're currently experiencing a baseball boom, and baseball is quite an international sport, especially with a lot of how the game has grown throughout the history of the game. So, love seeing a lot of different types of baseball, and this kind of reminds me of when Sean and I would play in the backyard, and we'd hit it across the street, and once you hit it to the walking path, it was a home run. So, make your field however you can, play baseball however you can, because ultimately it's a fun sport to play.
That
What?
field just turned us into pull hitters because it was like the shortest porch was in left field,
That's
so
true.
we'd
Well,
all pull
we didn't really
everything.
have a right field because we were all lefties, or we all right-handed batsmen. We didn't
But
really hit it
like,
opposite direction.
but like, yeah, well, left field was or right field was just forever. It just
That's
went down
true.
the street.
That's
Like,
true.
there's no point hitting that way. So you pulled everything.
And it is International Cat Day, so please, if you have the opportunity, please pet a cat, and just give some cats some love today. If you want to tell us your thoughts on the Mariners prospects, how they've done, and what they did at the trade deadline, go ahead and tweet us. I am at Bader Matt. See you later. Sean is at Nasty Billy 22, and Kevin is at SEA to believe. That is C to believe. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think about all the topics we talk about. Hopefully we'll be back next week, but as the Seahawks season gets ramping up, I'm hoping to be at least weekly, if not bi-weekly. So we'll see what we can do. But until then, we'll see you next time on Washington, East to West Sports. Bring back the Sonics.